hello everybody. This is Nicole with Live with eCom Sellers, and this is day 17 of the Print on Demand Challenge. So we are starting off the session with a question that was asked of, of one of the projects that one of the participants is working on. So let me find a picture that is not being, okay, I'll use this one. So, so I'm going to use this one as a reference. This one has a bunch of stuff already on it. But the thing that I was saying is when you pull up the image, whatever the image is, if you're trying to put some words up at the top, and so I can add a new page, just a blank page. So we'll start off with that. If I wanted to try to recreate this or aspects of it, I'm not going to be able to recreate 100% of it, but if you're trying to put words on an image, so you had I don't know, photos of fruit. So fruit smoothies. So let me just do that. We'll just say this is your backdrop, maybe. That's probably should show something wider, but that's okay. Okay, so kind of cool. And I want to put some big text words on here. So this is the text box that I was talking about before. And if you choose the text box, then of course the first thing that you'll see down here is you got a couple of different options. And some of them have a similar look and feel to what I already had on the other picture. Some of them don't. So you can choose any of these, or you can choose to put your own text by just choosing headline, subheading, whatever. So you can choose the text, and once you click on one of these boxes, one of them, then this little is tiny right now. It says it's 12 font up here. Up here is where it says 12 font.
Okay.
It tells me the font that I'm using. I can change any of these fonts, and I can also change the size of the font. So I'm going to click on the word number 12 and maybe go to 96. Now it's huge, or it's bigger than it was before. And so if I were using this as my example for, smoothie, saying I've got a 3-ingredient smoothie drink, first thing I'm going to do is probably change the text to probably be white text. I might actually move this around a little bit back here in the background. Let me do that. So the drinks are a little further down. There we go. Okay. All right. So the drinks are a little further down, and I have some text up here. So all I did was click on this text box. I changed the font style by clicking up here, choosing one of these, and then I changed the font size. And then the last thing I did was click here to change the color. So if I want to say that I'm giving you 20 tasty smoothie recipes, and then I could add another thing that shows, maybe I'll choose this font. So we'll add another text box, and we'll choose this one. I'll change the size, and maybe I'll choose this font. I don't know what it is. I have no idea. I'm going to change the color to white, and I'm going to change the font size to 56, and I can say, 3-ingredient recipe. And so if I wanted to, and then once I choose 3-ingredient recipe, I can move this around. I can reduce the size, any of those things. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. So yeah. And, there's the great thing about this is that you can use some of the elements. So if I wanted to choose like an element of, oh, that's pretty cool. That's cute. If I wanted to choose one of the background elements, so I can go to shapes and sizes. I did not mean to put that line on there, so let me delete that. So I want to click on see all. So I can choose something like this. So if I choose something like that, and I can change this color to be black or something else. Maybe I'm showcasing it here, whatever you want to do. Choose one of those background elements. Okay. Come on, mouse. And I might change it to be, I don't know, blue, green, maybe green. Green might feel a little healthier. That's a puke green. I don't know about that. Anyway, you get the idea. And I
Okay.
also change the font to have an effect. So maybe I want to do it in a circle kind of thing. So it's in here, inside of here.
Okay.
Okay, so there's a couple different things that you can do. Probably want to change that size down. But anyway, I think you get the point that there's so many different ways in which you could like tackle this if you wanted to. If I wanted to, instead of doing this style or this size, like if I wanted to get a half circle, I could do a half circle, something like that. So any of those would work. Like I could have chosen that. I could have chose something else. So, you can see what's available and then, steal one of those and drop it in, change the color to what you want it to be. And that way you can showcase your product.
Okay.
Okay.
Yes.
So that's, and the last thing is that when we were looking at the fonts, when I was looking at the text, like if I wanted to do something like this or something like any of these down here. So let's say I want to do something like this, where you have a two-tone color. You can barely tell it's two-tone. This one's a clear two-tone color. This one's a clear, weird-looking two-tone color. This is a two-tone color. So if I wanted something like that, and it shows that I have a two-tone color, I can click on my color, and you'll see that, okay, I changed my color to, I can change it to orange, or I can change it to I don't know, yellow or whatever. And then to get that back color, I think it's under effects, maybe, where I get the second color. Yeah, the second color is under effects. Okay, Nicholas. Yes, you can. So the second color is under effects. So you just need to select it, and then you can change your second color. So if you want your back color to be something else, if you don't want it to be blue, if you want it to be green, you can change it there in your effects by clicking on it and changing it there. Then I could, like this has a white border all the way around, blue border, white border, depending on the words. And so you could do something similar to that. This is like a to the side effect. It's not all the way around the frame of the letters. But you could do something so you could have a little bit of that effect. If I wanted to make this italicized, because you'll see like this is italicized and these are not, you can change up the font throughout the whole thing. Depending on the words, you might have the option to do italicize. It looks like the words the font that I chose, I don't have the ability to, but you can go and look for something else if you wanted to be able to do that.
Okay.
Okay. Any other questions there?
No, thank you.
You're welcome. All right. So I'm trying to make sure my son has not fallen down the stairs. I'm sorry.
Oh no.
He is excited because he got a lemonade, y'all. So it doesn't take much to excite him. So I love him so much. Okay, so we are going to go ahead and I'm going to open up a Google Sheet. And I didn't, Charlotte, I wasn't planning on being gone today. My whole schedule changed on me this morning. So my brother went to the men's conference and my whole schedule changed. So I apologize. I don't have that schedule done. But I can fill in parts of that schedule so you'll know what I do. I actually do have a normal schedule. I'm keeping the Word document for just a second, and I'm going to go ahead and fill in the mock schedule. So what I normally do is 7 o'clock was on my schedule. Now, lately I haven't been able to do this, but 7 o'clock is when I did the morning eCom motivation. And I do that pretty much every day. Yeah. Yeah, I'm telling you, COVID just messes up the brain. All right, so I'm just gonna call it Mom. because that's what it is, morning eCom motivation. So I do that every single day at around 7 o'clock. And depending on the topic, it might run over, but I do it at 7. And then I'm supposed to transition to something else. On Mondays, I meet with my VA number 1 at 8 o'clock, VA number 2 at 9 o'clock, and VA number 3 at 10 o'clock, and VA number 4 at 11 o'clock. So my VAs all do different things. I like to set the pace for what they're doing for the week. I like to set that pace on Monday. What they get from me on Sundays, after I do the morning motivation, church is at, for me, church is here. So I'm going to church here. So I start my planning sessions in advance. And this is the eCom sellers part of it first. And I do that at 6 o'clock and at 8 o'clock. I come home from church and I continue it for another 2 hours. What I'm doing in that schedule is I'm actually pre-recording via Loom a video for this VA, a video for this one, a video for this one, a video for this one. I also give them meeting notes. So they have quarterly meeting notes so that way if they ever have any questions, they can come back and look at their meeting notes. They can always reference them. So this is Dina's. Dina's got a lot because she does all the social media. So she has her previous quarter's meeting notes that she can reference. She can go back and look at them. She's got a list of all of our social media pages. She's got her link to her Loom video so she can come back and watch them when she wants to. Our videos for the standard operating procedure. So this is like the top of all her meeting notes every single time. We'll always have these because these are quick reference tools for her. Access to our tools and access spreadsheet, our training schedule, what's coming up for training for eCom sellers and social media, reoccurring. And then when she needs to take time off, she's got a spreadsheet for that. Email deliverability, because she's working on email. She does probably a lot more than I think some of my other VAs. And then access to the marketing folder so she can put her videos for marketing, videos for email swipe, and also graphics. The graphics for all of the social media that we post is in there. And then I kind of give her a quick outline of what to think about for her email drafts. And then last but not least, and then she's got an email schedule and when she's supposed to email stuff out. And then she's got an annual planning schedule. So I'm a planner by nature. And I like for them to know this is what we're working on in June, and this is what we're working on in July, and this is what we're working on in August, and this is what we're working on in September. This is what we're working on in October. So they know every single month what to expect, and then we get into the details of it. So because I'm a planner, I'm always 2 months in advance. So we're working on August right now. For everything that is eCom sales related, making sure the graphics are ready, the email swipe, working on the funnels, which we have a couple of broken funnels right now, and all of that. So she is on the eCom seller side, whereas my inventory management team, that's a different set of VAs. That's VA number 4, and then I have a second meeting with the other person. There's 2 people on that side. They have inventory meeting notes. So their meeting notes, when I pull their meeting notes together, again, similar format, but not as much stuff at the top. They have access to the previous quarter, what they were supposed to be working on, the access to all of my login IDs and passwords that I grant them access to, or their login IDs and passwords if I gave them a secondary login to be able to access my accounts. Everyone has access to the tools and access. That's all the stuff that I bought to be able to create stuff. So they have access to my Canva account, all that other stuff. They report time off. So I have 2 VAs. They are part of the inventory team. And then we go through the listings of the stuff that they're working on and what kind of problems they were running into. If my VAs are going to be out, like Priyanka is out because she's doing finals. They both live in India, so she's doing finals. So we have all of these lovely notes about all of my inventory and what's supposed to go where and how things are supposed to be listed and blah, blah, blah. So those meetings, I try to make sure that they're focused. These 3 VAs are part of eCom sellers. This 4th VA is part of my private business. So I separate the 2, my personal e-commerce business from the 2. So I have 3 4 people on the eCom seller side and 2 people on my personal business side. And then my brother and my son, and then another lady comes to my house. So on my personal business side, there's 5 people. So on this, this is my schedule initially. When I get up in the morning, the first thing I do is I do work on IPAs, income producing activities. So income producing activities for my personal business, I do those first thing in the morning. That is creating any listings or going through and answering questions from my VAs about any listings that they had questions about and addressing those so that when they come back online, they can work and I'm not the bottleneck. So I do income producing activities. I know that listings are key to my e-commerce business. So if I am holding up, I don't want to be the holdup. So that's the first thing I do is first thing in the morning. I meet with one of my VAs, Priyanka. She is the one that is working on the print on demand project challenge with my son, Tony. So the other VA is not. And then, like I said, there's 2 of them. On Tuesdays, I don't meet with any of my VAs. On Wednesday, I meet with one of my VAs, VA number 1, that's Purnima. And then I also meet with the inventory team. So that is Priyanka and the other. So that's VA number 4 and number 5. So they meet together and we talk about my listings, my business partner's listings, because me and my business partner partner together to get our VAs. So we co-share the cost of the 2 VAs. And one of the VAs is full-time and the other one is working 25 to 30, might as well be full-time, 25 to 30 hours. So we go through the listings, we work through any issues and challenges that they have. And then I work my business and I'll get into that in just a second. Then on Thursdays, I do the follow-up with VA number 2 and VA number 3. I know I got a lot of stuff going on. And 3. And so I meet with VA number 2 and number 3 at 8 o'clock and at 9 o'clock, or nope, not at 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock. I try to keep the times the same so it's an easy reoccurring meeting. So VA number 1 is always in the 8 o'clock slot. VA number 2 is always in the 9 o'clock slot. I was in the wrong place. So whenever I meet with them, they're in the same slots. And VA number 3 is always in the 10 o'clock slot. And then the only ones, the inventory VAs are the ones that have like a different kind of weird schedule that's a little bit different. On Fridays, I meet with VA number 5. That's Lyria. So we meet once a week and each one of my VAs have different responsibilities. So the team that makes me, well, both teams make me money, but the ones that work on my business are these ladies in my listing business. So when I am working in my listing business, what happens is I'm working on income producing activities first thing in the morning. I split it into 2 30-minute segments. So the first 30 minutes is me working on my own personal business and my own personal listings, checking my listings, checking for sales, checking for, and then creating any listings or resolving issues with listings that they couldn't put up or sending them corrections to listings that they did put up. The second part of that is the eCom seller side. That's the second 30 minutes. And then I jump on the morning eCom motivation. After I finish that, then we go through, they will have already gotten their planning email and video on Monday. So once they do that, I'm able to go through and have them, that we can have a more effective conversation. It makes it an efficient meeting because then we can target the things that they didn't understand. So I kind of break everything up with, let's start with what questions, same way I do here. So what questions do you have first before we get into it? Then we get into what it is that I need you to do this week. And if there's a training involved, we go through that. Or if there's an SOP we need to review, we go through that. And then at the end of the meeting, I set the expectation of what I expect to see or what I expect to talk to you about on this date. So my VA this week, I told her, I said, okay, we have the retail arbitrage, online arbitrage leads going out. I expect to see the email drafts for the customers that are going to be that signed up for the retail arbitrage, online arbitrage leads. And I need to see it Wednesday because the emails need to go out Friday. So she knows what the expectation is and she can come back and tell me. Whereas in my personal business, because Priyanka's working on my print on demand side of my business, and she's also doing all of my eBay, Etsy, Facebook Marketplace, Mercari, Bonanza. Trying to remember everything she does. So she handles that side of my business, and then Jay Cherie, who's the other VA, she handles like my Amazon and Walmart side of the business. So they're actually split. And when I meet with them, because Jay Cherie is the full-time one, I meet with her twice a week. That's the reason why the other one doesn't meet. This is an inventory meeting, and this is a standalone meeting, so that we can address any issues. She can give direction to the other VA, tell her the other VA what they need to do. So she's sort of like I don't know, a supervisor. She's not really a supervisor, but she's sort of like a supervisor. It makes it easy. Then the next thing that I do is I actually work in my business too. Because when I'm on a mission to like raise a certain amount of money, I talked about this in the past, and I don't know, over the last several years, is that the summertime is when I build up my cash reserves for inventory for Q4. So 100% of what I make in the summertime goes directly to buying inventory for Q4. Well, this is new. This print on demand thing it's new, but it's not new, because we were doing print on demand before. We were just doing it differently. So now we're taking a completely different approach to it, which seems it's been working. And so this is new for Priyanka. She's trying to get a handle on doing the print on demand listings and making sure that she's got the titling right. So every time I meet with her, I always have to give her corrections, and it's okay. It's part of the journey. So I'll create them, and then she'll come back and work with me. But in any case, when I meet with my VAs, I meet with them for 30 minutes. And then at the end of the 30 minutes, the remaining 30 minutes is any follow-up. So I call it FU, but it's really follow-up. On my little personal calendar, it says like Priyanka, and it'll say for 30 minutes, Priyanka meeting, touch base. And then below that, for 30 minutes, it says Priyanka FU, which means I got to follow up on anything that she told me she had questions about, she had issues with, she needed help with, she didn't understand, she needed clarification, she needs me to update the standard operating procedures, she needs me to resolve something with a vendor, like we had a customer question and she didn't know how to answer it, like all of that stuff that she points out, because they monitor my accounts. They check for customer questions. They check for returns and refund requests. They check for inventory levels. They have a checklist as part of their job description of things that they're responsible for. And so my job is to make sure that they can do their job, if that makes sense. Mm-hmm. So I go through and I do all this, what I call FU stuff. I'm not cussing here. And after every single meeting, so that when I go into the next meeting, I'm fresh. And the VA had already gotten an email and a Loom video from me telling me what I want to talk to her about today. Okay. They're all females. I mean, not that I'm opposed to hiring any men, but hey, I do believe in supporting women. We are all female entrepreneurs. And I feel strongly that there are a lot of male e-commerce people out here, but there's not enough women getting recognition. That's just my personal opinion. I don't think I'm wrong about that. I feel like we do e-commerce better than they do. They just get the recognition because they're really good at the sales cycle side of it, the promotion of the training. But the reality is there's a whole bunch of women out here making money quietly that are not talking about it. So in any case, after that is over, I work in my business. There's a list of things that I have to do. I split the business between personal and eCom sellers. So on Monday is an eCom sellers day, and I work on eCom seller stuff all the way up until it's time for, not the whole day, because there's some other especially needed stuff that I do. So it's an eCom sellers and some especially needed stuff, which is our nonprofit. And I pretty much work part of that up until here. And then I do stuff with the boys. Then I come back and I check to make sure the broadcast goes out. So I come back and I do a bunch of eCom seller stuff. And Lyria schedules all the broadcasts. Then the next day, this whole day is definitely eCom sellers stuff for the first couple of hours. And then I get very busy. Oops, I cannot type it off. And then I get extremely busy into my own personal business. So I call it home eCom biz. So home eCom biz, HEB. And I work in my own business, creating listings, doing product research. If I gave them some product research, I'm going to go out there and vet it. I'm going to work on bundles. I'm going to go through my inventory that's in my storage unit. I'm going to go through and figure out what hasn't gotten shipped. I'm going to check with my brother. Like the other day, I was asking about the Minions listings. I'm like, look, that's the priority for Jay Sheree and Priyanka, and they don't have the images. What's the deal? So, going through and just following up on all of my own personal business stuff. So we have all of that work in addition to the stuff that we send over. My son is doing 2 print-on-demand designs every single day, all the stuff that Priyanka has to do. So they are running all the time to stay ahead of us. Like, we are always clipping their heels when it comes to work and inventory, and they have a checklist. And everybody has a daily checklist. When you actually, they don't, she doesn't have one here, but it's not it. They, each one of them have a daily checklist. I don't know why she doesn't have one in here. That's just weird. There is a daily checklist. Trust me, there is. If I look at Poonam's, she will have a 2020 activities and standard operators and to do recurring. So the daily checklist is called the to do recurring. And then it's actually a little checklist spreadsheet that you can see here. It's a to do checklist for Poonam. So all of them have it. I just don't know why it's not at the top of their sheet, but okay. So I work through my business. The things that I do first, the things that I'm going to focus on when I am doing the order is I know that listing is key, and I follow up with them about listings. That's my income producing activity first thing in the morning. And then I will also create listings in the afternoon. But I will also do product research and keyword research. So I'm going out there to look for what do I need to buy next, source next, or research next. And I do all of that, or create listings for it next. So I'm looking at print on demand designs. That is, to be honest, that is the whole reason why I created the eCom planner, because I was going through the process of creating those designs that have to do with every day's a holiday and every month's a holiday, and there are international holidays, and that's what got me started. Whoever I was working with, I can't remember who I was working with, and they were like, man, that would be a great list to sell. So then I started getting ready to put it together as a lead magnet. And then Renata was like, well, you do the schedule thing, and Celia was like, you can do this. You're crazy about the schedule. Why don't you create it as, put it in a planner? So that's how that whole planner came about. It started with the Every Day's a Holiday and the print on demand journey. That's really where it started. But I go through and I do product research. So in my own personal business, I'm doing product research first, and I'm doing some keyword research depending on what it is. I'm looking at, interest and what people are potentially going to be buying. What do I need to target? I'm looking at competitor stuff. I'm analyzing other people's listings. So I'm doing lots of analysis to see what is moving, what is not moving, so I can make some decisions. Under normal circumstances in prior times, I would actually do that on Sunday. But Sunday has become a completely different day for me. Sunday is completely insane for me. So we work in my e-commerce business, HEB and HEB. Then I pre-record, don't tell anybody, the podcast because I have to. And so we pre-record the podcast, and I pre-record some other stuff because I'm like, I don't have time. So there's a whole bunch of recording happening on this day. A lot of recording happening into the rest of the evening. So Sunday has become something else. But I do work in my business. The team gets started on Sundays at 2:00. They work until 6:00 in my business. And I work with them for about 2 hours, and then I work on other stuff. So I do analysis, and then I will start, if I'm doing print on demand, I will start creating stuff. Me creating stuff because Priyanka doesn't have a handle on it. Again, they're managing all these other accounts, and I have a lot of flipping inventory. I do. And because I'm trying to get rid of it, I'm trying to make print on demand my main thing. I need to stop saying trying. I'm making print on demand my main thing, and I am working to get rid of 100% of my other inventory. So like this last week, I told them, I said, drop the prices on these items by 25%. And she was like, are you sure? I'm like, yeah, just drop them. I need to get rid of them. I need to sell them. I need the cash back, because I use, like I said, the summer as my cash flow, so that I don't have to take out loans and I don't have to take out all this other stuff. I can use that to fund my Q4. And I've had that strategy forever. Okay, so then I'm creating listings, and I'm creating bundles, and I spend a lot of time just like in that creative space. And about 4:00 is when I have to stop. So the reality is about 4 o'clock, I really do have to stop. I don't go past 4, and I pick it up again maybe around 7 or 8. So over here on, what is this day? Wednesday? Yeah, Wednesday. So Wednesday, I'm trying to remember what else am I doing on Wednesday. There's a lot of inventory stuff happening on Wednesday. I'm working in my business on Thursday. My the person who comes to my house, she comes to my house Sunday, Tuesday, and Thursday. On Tuesday and Thursday, she comes to my house from 11:30 until 2:30, and on Sunday she's there from 2 to 6. So she's not here the whole day, and so I can work with her on listings. I work in my own e-commerce business on those days. I work on eCom seller stuff and recording trainings, putting together graphics, working on marketing videos, all that other stuff happens on Wednesdays. I do a little bit of that on Thursdays. And then I also work on a bunch of other stuff. There's just a long list of other. We work on grants for our nonprofit. I work on grants for my kids because I have special needs kids. I have to go and check on services, see where we are on the wait list, la, la, la. Like there's just a bunch of stuff. Get therapies done. So it's like a bunch of other personal stuff. And then on Saturday, I do training. If it's not pre-recorded, if I didn't pre-record it here and I didn't pre-record it here, then I do training over here. I think this is all eCom seller stuff because I have eCom sellers so split out. It's crazy. So I'll show you this crazy schedule and you're going to go, you're crazy. You're really, really crazy.
Mm-hmm.
So we're not going to focus on it forever. We're just going to look at it for a second. So Renata goes, you're nuts. New plan. There it is. All right. Just know that it is color coded. Okay. So this is my schedule. Mm-hmm. And so what I do is I make sure I know how many hours I'm spending doing stuff. I spend 15 minutes prepping for each one of the VAs stuff that I'm going to be meeting with them about. So each one of their names, and then Priyanka and Jay Sheree are together. They do my inventory stuff. I spend 15 minutes planning what I'm going to do in my own personal e-commerce business this week, and then I execute it throughout the week. I spend 15 minutes working with the person who helps me with funnels, marketing and operations stuff on both sides of my business, 15 minutes on eCom a minute and podcast. So what are we going to talk about in this week's podcast? 15 minutes on other things, and then traffic, social media, and admin. And then that's just the planning side of it. So I chunk everything into categories. This is the planning side of it. This is the admin side of it. This is operations side of it, and all the operational stuff that gets pre-recorded or developed and or vetted or researched. The marketing side of my business, my social media side of my business, the traffic side of my business. So it's a lot. And on Sundays, after I finish everything, it's not Sundays, Saturdays, is my boys' time. Like I spend a lot of time with my boys on Saturday, so that's sort of a big deal to me. And I try to pre-record some of my trainings, but sometimes I'm not able to. So if I'm not able to pre-record it, then I move those trainings, I move my boys' time into the week and do that. So yeah. So that's my insane schedule. It's insane. And Renata's like, I don't even know how you keep any of this straight. But yeah, I have everything broken down by 30-minute time frames. So yes, it's a lot of colors, and it's probably more information. I'm not trying to paralyze anybody. I'm just saying it's probably more information than you were prepared to receive.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Do you mind if I ask you how many personal businesses you have?
I run, so I sell on multiple platforms, and I run eCom sellers. I also have our Achieve Digital Marketing, and when I create funnels, we do email copy, we do graphics, we do a lot. We do some marketing videos. I will partner with others to host their summit or to help them, because I'm a former project manager. And so I help them with that as well. Yeah. So I have, I don't know, 1, 2. I mean, if I broke down each one of my e-commerce businesses, they would be their own. So I just lump them all together in my own personal e-commerce business. But the other stuff that I do, so I have the nonprofit, I do work in the nonprofit. I do work in eCom sellers, and I do work in my own personal business. Those are like the three big chunks. And then outside of eCom sellers, the additional one is achieve digital marketing. So yeah, it's a lot. So today didn't go as it was supposed to. I did get up. I met with Lyria and we did some work this morning. And then, so me and Larry had our meeting, and then I normally have whatever amount of time I meet with each VA, I always have at least an equal amount of time to do their follow-up activities. So if they tell me I need whatever, my job is to give them or to address what they need immediately after the meeting because it's fresh in my mind at that point. So I always do it right after, always. So yeah, so I met with Lyria and we had a good meeting, and then I'm supposed to record tomorrow's training, but I didn't get a chance to record it because my brother had to get tags on his card. I had to go do all this stuff. But yeah, it's a schedule that has to be managed. So yeah. Anyway, that's my schedule. So does that help?
Well, I've got to go for this evening, so I will catch you guys tomorrow.
Okay. All right, Charlotte, was that helpful for you? You asked me the question yesterday. I'm sure that was way too much for you, information. Was that helpful?
Yes, it actually was, because I wanted to see, like, how does all of this magic really happen?
But let me just say this, because I have been on this journey so long ago, when I say I was listing in the pockets, I really was listing in the pockets. Like I would load the car and have my laptop and have my notebook and have all the stuff that I needed, everything I wrote down, who had sales this week. Like if I could go do some retail arbitrage while they were in therapy and it was close by, like it was within a 5-minute shot of the therapy thing, I would go do speed sourcing. I know you've heard me talk about that before. Like I would speed source. I knew exactly what I was going in. I'd go run across the end caps. I'd take pictures of the end caps because I didn't have time to stand in the aisles. So I could come back and get on my phone or get on the computer and do some deeper research. And that is how I did. That's how I got to where I got to in my e-commerce business. And I did it all. I was a solopreneur. I did it all by myself. I didn't have any help. I hired my first person, I think in 2017, 2016, 2017. Yeah. So I did it by myself for for a long time. And I started hiring summer help because I got strategic about it too. I'd hire them and then they would work. I would train them in the summer and then they would come back and work for me in the fall when school was in session. Made life a whole lot easier because then they're flexible. They can come to my house when I want them to. So that's, I know you've probably heard me say that. I've at least taught that maybe 7 or 8 times, but that's what I really, really, really did. But I did have a very tight schedule. So when things don't go the way I need them to go, because I have to know what I'm supposed to be working on next. So when the things don't go the way I need them to go, I'm just like, okay, all right. Like, what was the priority for the day? So I break out my eCom planner and I'm like, what was my priority for the day? The priority was this. So today I had to figure out what the priority was. The priority was getting our nonprofit fundraiser emails out to the restaurants to say, hey, we'd like to partner with you on a fundraiser. So that's what I worked on. Like, that's the priority. I don't get to work on my stuff. I got to work on this. So, but yeah, that's what I do. And it's a crazy schedule. Renata looks at it and goes, I can't look at your schedule anymore. She's like, just tell me where I'm supposed to be and when I'm supposed to be there. And I'll be like, that's exactly what she said. Just tell me where I'm supposed to be and when I'm supposed to be there. I'm like, we're meeting with so-and-so at 9 o'clock. Okay, I'll be there at 9. I'm like, okay.
Yeah, that's crazy.
That's how many businesses I run. And I will say at times I don't run them all well because, that's being honest, full disclosure. When COVID hit, I didn't have anybody. I mean, this is beyond this training, but anyway, I didn't have anybody working to save my businesses because I was the center. Yeah. And so when you're at a commission for 2 months, 3 months, and nobody else is doing the work, like you're the one who's bringing everybody together. You're the one that's making sure. So that's when I had to come back and go, I'm not doing this again. I want you guys to know what you're supposed to be working on before. And so I started doing the annual planning. I'm like, and we're going to talk about the annual planning. So let's see, Poonam. And so I started with Poonam, and we put together, this is like more than I need to share, but just to give you an idea. So we did an annual planning because I was very frustrated with the fact that I almost lost everything that I poured all that time into. I wasn't able to get back up on my feet until around probably the end of November, beginning of December. And that's bad. You have no income coming in, no revenue, no nothing. So I put together the annual planning and we started talking through what the expectation is for each one of the months so that you can go ahead and start working on those things. If you don't hear from me, you know what your assignment is. We've talked through it. So at the beginning of each month, the first thing I ask my VAs is, do you need any time off this month? If so, like, are you taking off? Do you need to go on vacation? Or you got family coming in? Like, because they do stuff just like we do stuff. So I just need to know when you need off so that I can write when you're going to be out of the office and you go put it on your time card right now. Second thing, let's talk about what we're doing this month. And so we talk about what we're doing for the month. And so once I started doing that, I have over time become a little less stressed, but it has taken a lot for us to even get to that place where we're actually ahead of, not really ahead, because we were doing just in time work. And so I had to do a couple months in advance, get them to the place where we could start doing work in advance. So when I talk about Priyanka and Jay Cherie working on print on demand, they're working on print on demand. Priyanka is working on print on demand for August. And Jay Cherie is thinking about, when I tell her, okay, this week I expect you to make, X number of draft listings, and I'm going to give you the bundle pictures for it. She's working on those drafts that she can release. She's creating them now for products we're going to be selling in August, if that makes sense. But I had to get ahead of everything. So I was like, if anything ever happened to me again, my business wasn't hosed. That was my thing. I needed my business to continue to generate revenue. And we literally went bone dry. Probably the second week in September, there was zero revenue coming in my business. All of the rest of September, all of October, and pretty much all of November, I had zero revenue coming in. Zero. That's a sure way to kill your business. So yeah. So I had to get strategic and I had to start pulling myself out of the middle of the business and putting together projects that are sustainable. So we have moved 100% to this model of where we're going to be selling a boatload of stuff on KDP. We're going to have planners for everything, 90-day planners for every type of e-commerce. We're doing it. Print on demand, drop shipping, Amazon, eBay. We're doing them all. Platforms and e-commerce methods. So whoever's listening to this, please don't steal my idea, but we've already started on the work. So I would hopefully we'll be the first ones to market, but we're going to have a boatload of workbooks that people can go and buy, and then they will sell for years. They will just sell over and over, and we just update them every year. And then it could be something that becomes a textbook model that can go into the schools, which is ultimately, if you followed me for a while, that was where I was going with this, is getting the kids, getting people started when they were younger, so that way they had the foundation that they needed to figure out how to be successful doing this.
Wow, that's awesome.